Good morning. Beautiful day. Beautiful day.
Phase 1 workouts for us are quite simple. It's the first 2 weeks of the program. We get to do an evaluation, we get to assess. There's a lot of new faces with us, so we get to really take a good look at who we have and what we have, and it also tells us too, like if the guys that we've had on the team, the vets, the rookies, the second, third year, fourth year players, all these guys, just to see at what point they're at right now.
Hey, you know what time it is?
The City of Champions.
And he's going to get set. Let's go! Touchdown Steelers.
The standard is the standard.
Phase 1 of the NFL offseason. It's a time to reacclimate with training, teaching, and physical conditioning required for a professional football player. Senior conditioning coordinator Garrett Guimont, conditioning assistant Marcel Pastor, and strength and conditioning assistant Rodane DeLuce all play a major role in this part of the offseason.
So during this period, it's a ramp-up period, so to speak. We want to get these guys moving just to see where these guys are at physically. And then once we get physically prepared, then the mental aspect of on the field and doing football work is just second nature to these guys. I think being here in the off-season program is big for any club. I think it's just really building chemistry. The guys just being around each other and learning and spotting each other and trusting and seeing who's pushing themselves and who's around. And I think it's great. It's like I said before, it's a bonding experience. It's great on the chemistry. It's good for Guy and Ro and myself just to be around and know what buttons you can push with certain individuals, and just the competitive nature of all these guys of getting after it every day and working so hard because their body is their business.
Building chemistry can be difficult when players are working out all across the country. The COVID-19 restrictions have been tough on everyone the past 2 years.
The pandemic was fairly difficult for us as a club. It was difficult for everybody. And we didn't get the bonding experience that we've had in the past years. And I think that's one of the biggest things, and I know I keep going back to it, but being around each other and trusting each other. I mean, we are a family here and working together because it just makes us better collectively. We have a couple new devices that we're going to implement this year into our program. A few testing and an eval type to see where we're at from the beginning of the year, during the year, and then towards the end of the year. So we're gonna have multiple testing. The competitive nature of the guys, some of these are games, but yet you're still working at the same time. All these guys are great competitors and they work their tail off. They have to work this hard and take care of their body every day.
Strength and conditioning are only a few parts of the process. Refueling your body with the right food and nutrition are huge components of being a professional athlete.
Our head chef, Kevin, and Matt Darnell, our nutritionist, they put together a great plan of supplements, of foods. It's just a good teaching tool because it's going to help us create better habits. And hopefully, between the supplements and the good foods that we're putting in our body can recover faster, making each other better.
Executive chef Kevin Blinn grew up just outside of Pittsburgh and played football at Riverside High School. After watching the Steelers on TV as a kid, he now sees them face to face almost every day as he manages the preparation and service of food at the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex. That includes Steelers and Pitt players, coaches, and staff.
I grew up on a farm. Both my parents were avid cooks, and then just working with chefs throughout my life definitely helped me get to where I am here today. A typical in-season day would be, people coming in at 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning, depending on the day, and the rest of the staff will be here at 6, just getting the day started for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the Steelers and Pitt, and then we'll leave possibly at 8 o'clock at night. Between off-season and in-season are hugely different. Now in the off-season, we mostly come in around 6:30, get our lunch prepped, be ready by 11:30, and usually we're done by 2. We have a dedicated staff for Pitt, that will do the Pitt food for the day, and then we have a dedicated staff to do the Steelers food for the day. Fortunately for our sake here for Parkhurst Dining is we have a great staff here.
Oh yeah, that's looking good.
I have a staff of 12 and we all work very well together. Everything's looking great. Thank you all. Looking good. Almost ready. I've been here for 10 years and I've definitely seen a different change of how we've done things since day one. Meeting with Matt Dornell definitely is, he's been great for us since he's first got on, helped us change what we do. We meet with him 2 or 3 times a week, definitely in season, maybe once a week off season, but both of us, we split 50-50, for ideas. And my staff obviously are the biggest contributors to what we do here. Organic, farm raised, now we have a pizza oven, we have a smoothie bar, Starbucks coffee machines that grind your coffee within 1 minute. Definitely our smoker has been a huge addition. We have a garden on the rooftop, which we grow tomatoes, jalapenos, fresh herbs. I love doing anything seafood. I like taking a whole fish, breaking it down, creating a meal out of that. I like doing that. They're just a great organization to work for. Both teams are. Good? There it is. You got it.
The first floor of the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex has its buzz back. Upstairs, there is another kind of excitement brewing. The Steelers scouts and coaches have had a busy couple of months as they were in attendance for over 115 pro days nationwide.
Good.
Evaluating talent is a year-round and sometimes regional job. One of the scouts, who happens to be a member of the Rooney family, focuses on the Southeast region.
I'm player personnel coordinator and enjoy just working with Kevin Colbert and the staff in whatever capacity it is. Mainly, I'm a scout. I live in the Southeast. I cover the Southeast. I started as a ball boy, and I worked for now Hall of Famer Tony Parisi. He was my first boss. Then I did a little bit of work for probably maybe a few months in this ticket office. I think the next job was in the scouting department. 1997 I started. As a matter of fact, I asked my dad, I said, can I try scouting? And he said, I'll let you do it till the end of the season. So I just never asked him what season, but I started the fall of 97, so my first draft was 98 when Alan Faneca was selected as our first round pick. We're a little bit more critical, and rightly so, who we bring to Pittsburgh, and we try to make sure that we're bringing quality people to our community as well as good football players.
Connection to community is something the Steelers have always valued. From scouting him during his days at the University of North Carolina, Rooney knows that Mitch Trubisky brings that quality along with his skills on the field.
I really like Mitch. Accurate, strong arm guy that was able to move the chains with his feet at times as well. Really excited when his opportunity came to come here, and I think he'll be a great player, and he's a great leader, and I think he'll fit in with our locker room well.
Almost 20 years before Rooney scouted Trubisky, he had his eye on another offensive weapon from UNC. An undrafted free agent in 2004, running back Willie Parker.
Well, my wife took a job in the town that he lived in called Clinton, North Carolina, and I really remember him as just a really fast, electric high school player. and got to know him as I would go back to the school for different pro days before he was a senior. Thought he was going to be an element that we didn't have because we had two big backs. Jerome and Deuce were on the team, and Willie just had a different element. So, he ended up being a great guy, and he's been a great alumni for us as well.
Willie Parker, 75 yards.
Parker proved to be a great addition to the Steelers, and the quarterback he played with allowed the scouting department to focus on other positions until the latter part of Ben Roethlisberger's career. 2022, however, is different, as the Steelers did their homework on this year's quarterback class.
I've been very fortunate and blessed as a scout to have Ben Roethlisberger here. I mean, he pretty much made my career just in terms of being able to go out and scout and not worry about that position. But that position is just so huge. So, when this time came and, we started this process probably about 2 or 3 years ago. We started looking at the quarterbacks that were rising into the junior ranks and in the senior ranks from years ago. And we did a little week or so called the Quarterback Week. Me, Kevin, Coach Tom, and a few other scouts went to the different schools. We started off here in Pittsburgh with Kenny. And so then we went down to Liberty, Malik Willis, and enjoyed dinner with him and his family. And then we went down to Matt Corral down there at Ole Miss, and then we went to Desmond Ritter over at Cincinnati. Then Sam Howell's pro day was at UNC. I think those 5 guys, along with Carson Strong out in Nevada, are probably the cream of the crop, so to speak, of this group. You got to be a sharp guy to be able to handle the way the defenses play in the NFL. So you look for accuracy, smarts, and I really like to look for toughness and courage. So when they're faced with adversity, are they able to lead the team?
Dan has been amazing. He's an owner, but when he's with us, he's one of the scouts. And he has a great eye for talents. He takes pride in being a road scout as well as a vision guy for the organization, all within that realm.
I feel lucky as can be to be able to work here. Kevin Colbert is awesome.
With Dan Jr., I never had met him. We were actually on a scouting visit together. I was with Detroit, he was with the Steelers, and we met up at Penn State. Having known the family growing up here, it was kind of neat to really sit down and associate with a member of that family, albeit a part of the scouting staff. So that was it. I can remember plain as day.
He is an extremely hard worker. He doesn't put unrealistic demands on us as people. He's a guy that believes in letting us be family men, so we have the opportunity to go home and be with our kids, and so it's been a great process.
All of the travel, scouting, dinners with players, film review, meetings, and the decisions lead to the annual NFL Draft.
Coach and I were just at the tail end of our preparations. It was a productive spring. I think we can honestly say we really feel good about the prep going into this draft, probably a little more so than some others. I just feel that we hit the right spots at the right times. We got good information. We had good visits.
Probably worth mentioning it's a good feel because we had the totality of the process. And it's been a number of years since we had that. We had combine and pro days, and we took advantage of all opportunities to gather information and get an eye on these guys. It just helps with establishing the board and having an understanding of who these guys are and how it all fits. We had a very productive free agency period. We're excited about the guys that we were able to acquire. In terms of how we acquire talent, free agency and then the draft, we think that free agency has really set us up nicely to have a good draft.